Hi there. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the ORIN Oracles Live. I'm back in Studio A in Orin Town. And you might be hearing some echo. I've got Nancy and Jeffrey on Facebook Messenger, and they're listening on their devices. And we're going to have a conversation. I trust they both hear me coming through, and I trust you're going to hear them. So if you hear the generator, if you hear the echo, just roll with it, because that's what's going to happen, I trust. So anyway, I'm excited to be home. It's been like a 7,000-mile, 1 month long extravaganza. And we're getting things ready for some major shifts. And that's part of this conversation, is that, and I'm now even like not happy just choosing the word retreat, but in view of that, I'm using that word for the moment. But we're going to have a collective session with some invited people to see what we can learn about ourselves and each other. And there's lots of dimensions involved in this weekend celebration of self and celebration of each other and awareness and awakening. We're going to discover all sorts of things about ourselves, as well as discover things about each other, because it'll be a collective shift of consciousness, a paradigm shift of all means. And we welcome you for your consideration to participate with us. Nancy and Jeffrey and I are definitely going to be there. And I'm excited to have this conversation with them to just kind of keep opening the portals, because this is it's a development in action. It's actually taken on a life of its own. And I started planting seeds along the way, and the seeds just kind of keep growing. And so with that, further conversations have been pursuant, and we're going to continue that conversation right now. So I'm going to ask both Jeffrey and Nancy to say hello to see if the listening audience can hear them okay. Go ahead, guys.
It's Nancy. Can you hear me?
I hear you fine. How about Jeffrey?
I can hear Nancy, but it's really muffled.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
I hear both of you just fine. And that's what's important. If you can hear me, I'll be prompting along the way, so we can stay within the conversation, because I'm getting echo, so I have to talk over the echo. Because I have the computer on the phone here and they're looping. Ha ha ha, funny how it works, right? But I trust that the listening audience is getting what we're going with here. So I'm going to start with Nancy. And what I want to ask you, Nancy, is why did you approach me to have this idea presented on your property? And how long ago did you make these ideas, conscious in your mind?
Well, I really made them conscious in my mind more than likely 40 years ago. That's 40 years ago, when I bought this piece of property. And I wanted to have people come here and to feel the energy of nature and the beauty of nature. But I didn't know how to do it. So for the last 40 years, I've just been here and been, planting seeds in the garden and in my own self, my own intention, and so all of a sudden, Casey came on the show, and I said that it would be wonderful to have the retreat here. So it's been 40 years of nurturing and loving this piece of property and the beauty of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and sharing a natural retreat with people. And I feel so, let's see, glad is not a good word, joyous, no, that's not big enough, honored to have the people come here, because I've learned about intention, and I know that the people that need to be here, including myself, Casey, will be here, and it's joyous, and I thank you.
And Jeffrey's going to be there as well.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Yeah. So, the thing how Nancy and I connected is poetic in its own right, because when I was doing We Do Wonders last year after I left Washington, Nancy gave me a shout out when I was in Huntsville, Alabama, and we ended up hooking up in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we met with Tony as well, and it was glorious. We met Christy. So her and I, and actually today, I don't know if you got the message, Nancy, but we're celebrating 1 year of Facebook friendship. Is that ironic? When that appeared this morning, I went, oh, is that fucking ironic or what? How cool is this?
It's perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I am also in that conversation to being honored to even introduce these ideas on yours. It's a sanctuary.
Yes.
Her property, just for you listening audience, this is a sanctuary in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Trust that. It's 80 plus acres, got a river running through it, organic gardens growing all over it, and Nancy at the helm. She's sailing in the free wind, man. She is really amazing. I love Nancy so much. So, now Jeffrey comes along. I've been having this conversation about healing the wounded inner child, and then Jeffrey shows up in my life. And Jeffrey and I have been having like amazing conversations. We talk a lot anymore. And we realize that somehow we're a good, I wouldn't call it a spar, but we really instigate each other into deeper realms of our conversation. And so I invited him to participate, with this idea we're doing on this weekend in July 20, 21, and 22. In the Blue Ridge Mountains. And more than half the slots have already been pretty much identified, and I welcome others to weigh in with their consideration of why they'd want to be a part of such a awakening of ourselves, and putting that in the trust of ourselves as well as others. And make no mistake about it, that's what we are going to do. If you're coming with a mask, your mask will be revealed. The mirrors are going to come out. And we will have a pure, true reflection of our experience with ourselves and each other. That is the intention behind all of this. So, I welcome your consideration for participation. And I really appreciate Jeffrey. Jeffrey, I'm going to bring you in this conversation right now. And don't get too scientific and too deep on us. Save some of that for later, okay? Let's have some fun in conversation because my friend gets deep. This bro gets deep. Say hello, Jeffrey. Jeff?
Hello.
There you are, man.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, man. Go ahead and tell us your story for a minute. How did you meet me? I mean, how did we begin our conversation? So let's direct the question.
Okay, before I start there, let me just say that I'm not hearing Nancy, so I'll only be able to participate in this conversation based on what you asked me.
Okay. That's okay.
So, yeah, it'll be fine. I'll be able to listen to Nancy after you get this posted.
Yes. Well,
anyway, I was listening to Casey for quite a while, looking for like-minded souls, and the tipping point for me in making contact with him is when he was interviewing the two gentlemen from England, as well as Daniel there at his home, when they were talking about drinking Shivambu through the nose. So that's when I made my first contact, after I realized that I also had been stimulating the nasal passage from a uniquely different perspective since 1994, and that there might be some common ground to where I didn't feel so alone in my journey. And hence it began.
Yeah. There's a warm introduction. How did you meet? Oh, we kind of met up the nose. A perfect way to get, intro into your, your womb thing. It's all through the nose, right? I mean, when you really get down to it, the whole birthing cycle is all through the nose. Funny how it works.
The first cranial nerve out of 12, quite simply, is our olfactory nerve, which is what lies up the nasal passage.
Yes.
All the nasal stimulants that we have, whether it's essential oils or, on down the line of things people will sniff, and our first inhalant was our own urine.
It's amazing how it works. And we spend the rest of our lives putting all sorts of things up our nose, and then we get confused when somebody says, why don't you drink urine up your nose? Hey, Nancy.
Yay.
Have you, because I don't remember we talking about, have you done the urine in the neti pot or drinking it up the nose?
I tried it, drinking it in the nose, and I haven't tried it for several months again now, but I did it a little bit.
Now, Jeffrey and I were talking about this yesterday, and what really came up is our gag reflex, which is what most people experience, is that they have this gag reflex. And so our immediate reaction is to, abort the mission. Now, we had some really interesting physiological discussion about why that happens. And I think I want to ask Jeffrey this now. We were talking about fascia, which is a protective outer core muscle, as part of that reflex and that protective coating. Did I get that right, Jeffrey?
fascia is actually the tissue type that encases all the different organs and muscles. It's when surgeons do surgery, they follow the fascial planes so they don't have to cut open the actual muscle or tissue that's underneath. So it's a little different. But
now, what causes that? Let's talk about that gag reflex, because I think that's an important idea right now. A lot of people, I think, gag on a lot of things. They may be gagging on this conversation. I don't know.
Well, if you go back and study embryology, well, let's take it to the preemie ward at the hospital. There is a certain age at which a premature baby will not survive, be it 5 months to 6 months on. So basically that's because they haven't learned how to suckle or swallow yet. They haven't developed this swallow reflex. Now
let me just repeat what you said. You just said you can't swallow this gag reflex. Did I hear that correctly?
No, it's the back of our throat has all the control mechanisms that control breathing and swallowing. It's a major control center in the womb as well as when we're out of the womb. So in the womb, it wasn't until about our 6th or 7th month that we actually mastered the swallow reflex. In other words, we were drawing the amniotic fluid in and out of our nose, but it wasn't until later in gestation that we were actually able to swallow. So obviously in the womb it wasn't painful or whatever, but the gag reflex, I think, is a reflection of our resistance to the wounded child.
Yeah. So there we go. Now we're coming back to why we're even having this conversation. Because the whole idea behind us getting together is to really understand on a intellectual as well as physiological as well as an emotional, which can be very disturbing in recognition and realization of the wounded child that lives within us and why we would want to open those wounds, why we would want to heal those wounds. And this is part of the exploration that we're developing in these conversations. And that's why I welcome both Nancy and Jeffrey to this conversation, because we're putting together something that we're discovering ourselves, even though we've done a certain amount of research and homework in these areas. But I think that the mastery comes in the discovery of a shared unification with others who are sharing the same process. I believe that to be a real energizer. It becomes kind of a love fest because we become more comfortable with ourselves as we become more comfortable with others. And I assure you, on my road trips, I have learned a lot about exposing myself as well as people exposing themselves and the level of comfort or discomfort that appears as a result of that conversation. And now I have been a stranger for a long time, and I embrace the ones I know. And it's interesting how you can become a friend on Facebook or through YouTube, and you create this bond, and then you meet in person, and then all of a sudden energy shifts a little bit, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. It's not the point. the point is that once we're in the presence of others, we put up a mask sometimes, we guard ourselves, or we project, we do all sorts of things, because I found that most of us are loners. This is my discovery with all the people in the tribe, in the urine therapy, most are really loners. And they have been looking for other people of like mind and tribal people and these ideas, knowing or unknowing, for a real long time. And it's a scary proposition, because now we're going to be more vulnerable if we decide to express ourselves, expose ourselves, and be authentic in that presentation without hesitation. Now that's a lot of risk. And I experience it on a daily level. That doesn't seemingly go away. But that's why I'm really excited about taking this journey, taking this risk, and participating with people that I'm learning about, learning to love, learning to trust, and open up the window of opportunity for self-exploration and self-expression. So Nancy, I'm going to come back to you, my love.
Yeah, I think I'm learning to trust myself, because I have similar conversations with different people, and I'm learning to be a loving person, which is to quit being so emotionally reactive or repulsed by what other people say to me, and just to listen to it maybe with great awe.
Yeah.
But still to listen and just to be present. Like today, the man that is here, well, he's not here now, he left, but helping me dig the holes to plant the watermelons and the cantaloupes and the honeydews that we're putting in today. And he's telling me about that he and his friend have used this great weed killer that they put on the soil first.
Uh-oh.
And I could put that weed killer on my soil, so I wouldn't have the weeds. And he believes that his thought about using maybe glyphosate in some form is good. But it's taken me years to understand glyphosate. And so I can be at peace, understanding that he does not understand what he would be doing to the soil and to the food and the health of his body and what he's doing. And the other thing is that at least he wouldn't quit, because he would figure I had just gone ballistic.
Well, and I met this gentleman. I know who you're referring to, and we wouldn't have had those delicious salads had you incorporated that idea. With the dandelions and the other greens that we were just picking even before any of your gardens started to grow. And I remember you, letting him know that you're doing urine, and I saw the urine in your soil example where the white moths or white flies just eradicated themselves overnight within the soil. It was really quite graphic and very, it was awesome. And so, I appreciate your gardens. That's just one little idea that we're all going to enjoy together as food from Nancy's garden. Totally organic, urine infused, beautiful, natural food. Ha ha! We're going to share. We're going to share a few meals.
Yeah, he doesn't want to eat the food, he said, because it had human urine on it. But
Yeah.
I couldn't tell him about glyphosate food in cow urine.
Yeah.
what the, yeah, I mean, who's got the time? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do a little research and get back to me. Maybe we can have a real conversation besides the weather, you know?
right.
Hello? Yeah.
Yes.
Now, speaking of weather, I'm so enjoying this, man. You know, it rained a couple of days here prior to my arrival, and you know, when I left 2 weeks ago from ORIN Town, it was still just, everything was budding, so it was still kind of in that transit of dormancy where it hadn't really bloomed yet. And I mean, it was still gray, brown and all that. 2 weeks, I came back to the emerald forest. It's just, man, it's like way big. And even some of the weeds growing up off the ground, they're up to 3 feet high. And Jeffrey said he'd bring his weed whacker. He's going to come and visit me over the weekend, and we're going to do a little weed whacking. Yeah, make a little room to drive down the driveway. But I'm just enjoying the glorious sunshine. I'm gonna share a couple of processes that I'm now in preparation of. And I'm going to make a ORIN Oracle show. I'm going to make several shows on these transits. But I'm just going to give you a heads up on my next move. I've already pulled out all of my aging urine, and it's all amber now in its containment. Now it's sitting in the sunshine. I'm going to let it hang in the sunshine and breathe, get all its photosynthesis. Once that's complete, I'm getting the kiddie pool, and I'm going to siphon off the urine to separate the ormus. Then I'm going to collect all the ormus. Once that's complete, I'm going to rinse it 3 times with fresh urine, and then I'm going to dry it. So I have my philosopher's stone. And I can do anything I want with that because there's the power.
Well, I think that's a wonderful demonstration because I know you left, I don't know how many gallons of your urine
18.
Here.
18
gallons.
Yeah.
But I've personally not done that to siphon it off, and I can understand from what you're saying, the ormus at the bottom. I've seen that. But I'm just going to be loving watching you do it right in front of me.
It is. I'm going to do exactly the same process when we get together on that weekend. I'm going to do exactly the same process that I'm preparing to do here. All you need to do is, yeah, I hear your little bells. All you need to do is get a kiddie pool.
Oh, hey, I was wondering how many kiddie pools there at I don't know, one of the dollar stores here. They have small ones, and they're like $8.
Yeah, I'm looking at something that's like 6 feet. You know, and sturdy, not the blow up. You know, one that's rigid.
Yeah, the rigid.
Yeah.
Right, the rigid.
Yeah, and that's all we need. That's all I need is that. And the urine's there. And I'm gonna bring my product. I'm gonna bring it in demonstration. After I do the processing I do here. And it gets better than this. It really gets better. Now, I had YouTube people saying to me, you need to have a conversation with Elatom, El-Amin. And so we were going back and forth. Anyway, we spoke this morning, and he's been a breatharian and practitioner for 18 years. Okay, now, that doesn't mean that he hasn't eaten, but he's consciously been preparing his experience as a breatharian for 18 years. And he's doing exactly what we're planning to do in Europe right now. that's what he's doing is breatharian training retreats. Is that crazy?
No, I think it's wonderful. I mean, all I can do is listen to what I hear. But if I'm hearing about this ice age and the different ice minimums that we could be going through, I think that it's the best thing a person could learn would be to learn to be a breatharian and to practice it, because there might be a little space between meals.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is I've got my lights up and so that I could grow inside, but is there going to be electricity? I've got the 4-inch concrete metal pieces that go into concrete to hold it. I've got them over the cabbage and all the brassica crops, and I have the rime over it now, and then I could put the clear plastic over it. But I mean, we haven't had large hail here, but it seems like to be a prepper is really something now. How to prepare for whatever's going on, it's fine.
Well, and I've been doing that personally. I've been doing this since last year as a mindset. And so that's where him and I were in really nice conversation, because that's the awakened state, or the understanding, just getting your mind right about it in the first place. Once you can incorporate that consideration, then you can practice an application. So there's your fasting and photosynthesis, and the more and the longer you fast, the more you just trust that you can just breathe and soak in sun, and with the incorporation of your urine, you can be in perfect health and harmony always.
Well, I think learning how to honor ourselves is a lot larger subject than just the words. Honor yourself. Oh, okay. But it seems to be getting deeper and deeper. Like I hurt my knee again. But I continued, like you say, what to do? Drink your urine. Okay, so I'm always drinking it, but I drank it with the intention of honoring this urine that is within me, and it's perfect medicine for me. And the next morning, I was able to start walking around, and today, doing my gardening, I have some problems with it, but this thing of honoring all of these parts of us is something that has to grow through using it and realizing the truth in it, and it's wonderful.
Yes, you told me this story when we spoke yesterday, how quickly you were able to do urine compressions and turn it around. That's so awesome.
Yeah, but there's nobody else that's going to be talking about, oh, drink your urine and your your knee, whatever's wrong with it is going to get better. There's not very much respect for that. So we're really going out on uncharted territories, although they've been doing it for years. But to find out that it's really true.
Yes. So thank you for all that, Nancy. I'm so excited. I don't know if I told you today how much I love you, Nancy, but I just love you so dearly. You're the shit, dude.
Well, when I see how the plants respond to me watering them with a very diluted urine water solution, I mean, they love it, and anyone that comes here will see that these plants are very happy, and so am I.
Yeah.
And so we can just look at it and go,
Well,
yeah.
And I was privileged to hang out with you for like 10 days. And you were in the early stages of planning. And so it'll be so amazing to come back and see it all.
Oh, yeah, the peas are almost 3.5 feet high now.
The peas. and we're going to have a 26-foot TP that we're going to be able to party and express our whole... I mean, what we're going to be doing in the Blue Ridge Mountains, which is kind of the purpose behind all these conversations today, is going to be uncharted and off the hook. And anybody who wants to participate, needs to just contact us because, more than half the slots have already been spoken for. And so we welcome others that are considering, participation, but it's a no risk kind of thing. It's unlimited and it's uncharted. So come prepared.
Yeah, and we welcome the input of people and their experiences because it is uncharted.
Yes.
And that's what's so wonderful is to join in this experience. It's exciting.
Yes, it is. So I'm going to go back to Jeffrey so he doesn't feel all alone over there in his little corner. Jeff, you still there?
I'm here, yes.
Yeah, okay. So, how do you feel about living outdoors, being in nature, being as one in the, knowingness of all the things that you experienced so far? Tell us about your story on that.
I've always been an outdoor kind of guy. My dad taught me how to hunt and fish. He spent a lot of time outside. Currently, I live on a 30-acre farm. I'm the caretaker for the property. So I'm outside taking care of 15 acres of pasture, 15 acres of wood, cutting firewood for the stove. I'm interacting on a real level just because it's my work. But I love being outside, so it works for me.
And that's another thing we have in common because I did that for over the last 20 years. And aggressively physically, which I don't have to incorporate as much anymore now, which I'm grateful because I get to use different skill sets and not damage my body, which is what was happening. Because of all that aggressive work in the woods, in the pastures, with the machinery, with the constants, I know what you're dealing with. And I respect. I appreciate. And you're going to bring your weed whacker so we can whack some weeds here in Orintown.
Yeah, I got one for you, bro. I'll bring one.
Yeah, man. I don't mind doing the weed whacking. I don't. It's very, to me, it's the fact is all of the landscaping, all of the husbandry, all of dealing with different properties, these were all meditative healings for me, but they got to be really damaging because of my physical aggression to make things happen as an individual where it could have worked better with another set of hands in addition to my own, but I did it on my own. So I paid higher price for admission just because I wanted to see results. And I didn't hesitate to pursue and get the job done, whatever that looked like, including moving, stones that were 1.5 tons in weight and getting them moved to where I wanted them. But I love caretaking. I just love caretaking. I do. Because I like to be a steward. I don't want to be the mortgage owner, the insurance claimer. I don't want to be anything but a steward in healing the earth and the world and this beautiful plane we live on any way I can, every day, in any way. It's a mantra. It's a meditation to me.
Hello. Please leave a message after the tone.
Oh, who could that be?
So let me correlate. Let me correlate the land that Nancy's talking.
No, she's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Well, I'll just correlate what we're
Yeah, that's
going
what it
for
was.
as far as healing the wounded child. Our first piece of land that we built inside the womb was our placenta. And we're like the fruit of the tree.
Yeah.
So, if we want to heal our land, we first have to heal the memories of when we built our placenta.
Yeah, most
And
people.
that's what the retreat will be looking at. Everyone had a different experience in the womb, obviously.
Yes.
But P is the medium. We all swam in the same people, so with that understanding, it's going to melt like troubles melt like lemon drops high above the chimney top.
Well, in that analogy, when you look at the DNA pool, the P pool, okay, which is the healthiest thing that everybody could be adding to the pool instead of the chemicals they do put in most pools, including the DNA pool. But more importantly, the point I'm making is that if you look at the Porta-John and how they harvest pee, and they harvest horses' pee, cows' pee, human pee, for the application in cosmetics and pharmaceuticals and medical procedures, there is the absolute common pee pool. We are absolutely equalized because of our pee. I mean, that is the one thing we all share in common. We're a part of a liquid energy field that we comprise in our body with our plasma ultrafiltrate. That's just an expression of the beauty that exists within the temple that we're responsible towards. That is our landmass. That is our temple. This is our private property, period. And so the P is a great stream that runs from us and through us, with us. Now, I was sharing something a little while ago. Now, this is a great piece of Native American wisdom. And earlier in a conversation, I was remembering it, and I kind of paraphrase it a bit, but I'll share it with you because it really has a lot of reasonable understanding. The time of the lone wolf is over. There's a mighty river running, and it's running really rapid. Now some will choose to cling to the shore, and they'll be sadly mistaken as they'll be ripped to pieces. Others will jump into the midstream in the flow and celebrate and find out who else is in that stream of consciousness. And therefore, this is my pursuit. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking to find out who's in the stream and how they're celebrating their experience and sharing that experience with others. Unselfish, not with straining, not withholding, not masquerading, not hiding, actually authentically 100% committing to that flow of consciousness. The paradigm shift. Shifting where we are in our limitation to experience who we are in our unlimited potential. Discovering the greatest you, me, us that we can ever imagine. That's what I'm looking for. That's why I do what I do, to be who I'm being. It's my motive. It's my purpose and my mission. This is what keeps me really happy. Every day. Waking up in joy and just wonderment, realizing that every moment in the now is all you ever have. Every moment in the now is all you ever have. So how are you treating it? Are you experiencing, exploring? Are you embracing, enjoying? These are options for consideration. And I know that with Jeffrey, I know with Nancy, I know with Brian, I know with Cornelius, I know with Gretchen, I know with many people, more than I want to name because that'll take too long. But the fact is, I'm connecting dots, I'm finding peeps, I'm creating tribe, I'm learning about my deepest levels and association in a namaste and a perfect mirror image to see the love in you as I see it in me. And for this, I'm grateful, I'm honored, I'm privileged, and I thank you. Period. Story to be continued. You know, I love you guys. Did I tell you that today, how much I love you guys? Oh, man. You having fun, Jeffrey?
I am.
Nancy, you having fun?
Yes.
Good. Me too. This is delightful. And now I'm just really getting more excited than ever about, July, coming back to, coming back to the mountains. I mean, this is going to be so cool.
But by the way, the Bible verse is John 7:38.
What Bible verse?
The coming out of our groins, coming out of our loins or groins or something, the water of life. John 7:38 in the Bible.
There it is.
Yeah.
How biblical.
Yeah.
And a lot of people rely on that absolutely unconditionally always. And there's another option for consideration. Interpretation of ideas that have been presented to us, and how many of them do we adopt, adapt, and kind of own as being the way to enlightenment. And I always question, do I ever know where that road leads to, that one to enlightenment? Am I on the right path? Did I make the correct choice? Am I about to fall into another pit, a dead end, or another road sign that I missed? And I trust that the awakening process always includes these elements. And if they aren't, we're not really on the road to anywhere.
I think, and it includes a smile.
Yeah.
Smile, that's how we know it's correct. We smile.
Yes.
Yeah. Pretty simple.
Yeah, and again, and with this in mind, everything is simple, but it doesn't mean it's easy.
Yeah.
Easy means that, okay, well, this means I got to change my thinking, my diet, my habits, my community. I got to change, what else do I have to change in order to be okay to be who I am in this moment I call now?
Well, I think the big change is to quit being who we're not.
There you go. Now, when I was talking to Tom, this morning, this awareness was coming about really profoundly, of this, simple idea of awakening to ourselves, recognizing that we're total cartoons. And the more we are animated with that experience, the more fun, the more joy we experience, the more present we are, the more we trust and actually allow, with our own permission, our own gratitude, our own consciousness, our own shape-shifting. All of these things are now in agreement, intention, allowance, and clarity. So you don't have to fake anything. You don't have to pretend about anything. You get to actualize everything, being in the now. It's a great place to be. What a storyline that would make. It looks good on everybody that I've witnessed it on.
Yes.
And that's why I constantly keep my heart and my eyes and my mind open to receive those people that appear in that light. They are a gift. I receive them with gratitude, always. Just like you two darlings. Am I talking too much?
No. Wonderful.
Hey, am I hogging the mic?
No, but that's what's so wonderful about having the retreat with you, and that we can talk to you because you're the truth that comes from you is so supportive to us, and you wake up an awareness that maybe we hadn't respected enough or hadn't acknowledged. And so from the time that we've been speaking for myself personally, 5 years, 6 years of drinking my own urine, looping it, I drink a gallon a day. Oh, okay, it's warm, I like it. I've had a different look at it, and you've helped me to see these changes that I wasn't really respecting. And so I love you showing this kind of respect to me, and I honor that, and it's helped me in my person. Thank you.
Nancy, you are so sweet, and I so love you. I fell in love with you when I was in Huntsville, Alabama, and you said, "Oh, wow, you're coming to Charlotte? I'm only 323.3 miles away." And I said, "Who's this? They got a sense of humor." And you do, and I adore you for your sense of well-being, your sense of humor, and your willingness to process everything that appears. You're so wonderful in your aliveness, and I so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, and Jeffrey and I seem to stimulate a lot with each other. We've had really crazy conversations that just seem to go deeper and deeper. Why is that, Jeffrey? What do you think?
Well, simply put, there's only one of us, and ending separation is the big picture.
Yeah. So we're just mirrors. Yes? Hello?
Yeah. Beautiful mirrors, by the way. I'm so thankful that you heard my cry.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that both of our wounded children were crying out, and we heard each other and vibrated at that level, and we channeled in on that frequency, and we're going back to the remembering, the relearning, the retraining, and knowing that where we were was not where we were at, and where we're going is far greater than anything that we've ever perceived before. And that is returning to the grass root, the core root, the womb, the urine therapy, our whole awakened state goes back to those origins. They go back there. And the sooner we're willing to swim in that little pool, the sooner we're really willing to take a look at what went sideways, and we might be prepared to actually heal what it is that we prevent us from being the greatest version of ourselves we've ever imagined, which happens frequently, constantly, to most. Yeah.
Amen.
And, Jeffrey curls up in a fetal position and breathes puts urine and before that water up his nose to feel the pain, that pain body, that association, so he can feel the pulsation in his belly button. which actually is connected to the throat and also the rectum. And all of these things interconnected is either an association of understanding or a complete disconnect, which is why we disembowel ourselves by containing too much shit. We get in the way of our mindset, our heart set, our body set, and, you know, shit that's eating us has nothing to do with what we're eating at all. And until we clear that platform and wake up to the fact that we're full of shit somehow, and we're running around acting like, you know, wounded children screaming out, you know, sometimes in empathy and caring, other time in pain and rage. But look around, folks, man, people are screaming because of that wounded inner child. And it's apparent to me. So I'm not above it, below it, or in between it. I'm just with it. And I'm willing to keep learning more about it and expressing myself in the deepest fashion to really resolve that shit that's in me. I realize the only way I'm going to, you know, really heal my wounded child is I got to rip that puppy right open, let it bleed so I can see where the injury is and correctly heal it. Quit putting Band-Aids on it. Quit ignoring it. I'm going to deal with it myself. I welcome others to participate. It's a process. It is a practice. It is a mantra. I'm going to start swimming in my little pea pool every day in the sunshine. I'm going to be crawling in my pea pool every day. I can't wait. Yeah, what a deal.
I think people that we talk to that they're having
so
a problem is that it's so easy to criticize them and to say, "What's wrong with you? Why did you not figure it out? How come you would?" And all of that, you know, like rage and condemnation. And really, they need to be loved.
Yes.
But I'm learning to love myself, and you've been such a help to me, believe it or not, to loving myself, that I can love this other person in front of me as opposed to criticizing them, and to see a transformation not only in them, but in myself. And I'm so grateful for that. Thank you.
Yeah, and you know, this is the beauty of our group dynamic. I mean, people have, like I said, there's several slots already have been committed. And I know that the association and the trust that we're going to embrace with the group that is growing will be uncharted, unheralded, and off the hook. And for this, man, I am jazzed. Big time.
Yeah.
You know, let the party begin, let the wounds bleed, you know, let the therapy cure and heal. I mean, all of these things will be elemental in the experience. And we're just going to see what we can learn about ourselves and each other. It's so simple, but it takes it's a big risk.
It takes respect and love.
Yes, it does.
Not animosity and you're stupid or walking away and getting enraged, but we have an opportunity to watch ourselves, to listen to the thoughts in our mind, because there's not a lot going on here except for growth.
You know, and you in graphic form with your gardens, and you are committed, and I saw that in my own witness, how committed you are to your growth. You know, personally and in your farming, your gardening, your organic nature. I mean, you are a breath of fresh air, my friend. You know, I love being in your experience, and I know you missed me when I was gone. As I missed you as well. You know, I really adore you, Nancy. You're just such a gift to humanity. And Jeffrey as well. I mean, I just love you, bro. The more I get to know you, and I get to actually meet you this weekend, which I'm really excited about. And this kind of growth is just, it's so transforming. It's so effortless at this point when you're connected with the right crew. You know, when you actually create a tribe that no one defaces each other. There's no, you know, condescending remarks and sarcasm. You know, there's no, like, posturing of superiority. There's no conditioning of complexes like I'm inferior. There's just an equilibrium that just liberates us completely, that we're safe, that we're sound, that we're heard, and we hear others as well. We share this in common, and we can walk together instead of apart. What a glorious, that's so glorious to me. I'm down.
Yeah, me too. I want to go. Hey, let's go.
Yeah. You know, this is, it's really something. It really is. And this road trip, so many magical things occurred. Now here I got one for you. This is a, you know, this just an actual experience that metaphorically is sound. Okay, I had the van. Okay, the van started out with all good intention and a beautiful design, and it was of great service. It was called a Chevy Venture. So I was venturing with my Chevy. Now that continued until I left Virginia from Nancy's and started heading back to Missouri when the van had a meltdown in Louisville, Kentucky during Derby weekend. Now, I thought this was curious, and I knew that it was an invitation, and it was. I got to meet people that I would have never imagined meeting. And I got to tell them all about urine therapy. I acted in my presence. They were loving me. They were inviting me. I hung out, slept in my van overnight, and drove away with a Saturn eye on. And I just got my license plate yesterday. And it says May 19th. Well, 19 represents 19 forever, so I thought that was interesting. But more importantly, it says HP1 WOU. So I looked at that license plate and I thought, HP1. I thought, hip one. I just thought, hip one. Whoa! You know, WOU, right? I just thought, how fucking perfect of a license plate could I get at random? HP1, whoa! So, the point I want to make, how this is all principled, I realized this on the road because I drove away in a Saturn Ion that has an exhaust leak because of a broken flex tube, and it has extremely shot rear brakes, where it's actually metal on the drum. Now, why I bring this to light, my van, while I was in my venture, the more I pressed the gas, the more I was killing the machine. Now, the next day I drove away with a car that as long as I'm pressing the gas, that thing just rolls down the road. Forget about the brakes. Don't go with the brakes. Go with the gas. Go with the flow. The other one was dying because of it. This one is excelling because of it. Now, I recognize this after putting literally 7,000 miles on the road, and I went, all the signposts are showing up. It just keeps appearing. The magic, the wonder. And as long as I remain patient and present in allowing, the gifts just keep coming in. They just keep presenting themselves in just ways that I couldn't make this shit up. I just couldn't make this shit up. That's why I'm a non-fiction novelist, because I think life's a novel. It's a fucking cartoon. It's a comic book. It's a marvel. That's why it's always marvelous. We're living in a cartoon. And it's so wonderful when you include cartoons in your life. You know? Accept it. Enjoy it, embrace it, allow it. We're all just cartoons. Don't take yourself so seriously. No one gets out of here alive. You'll give up the meat suit. You'll be walking around as a spiritual being thinking, why in the fuck did I get all hung up in that meat suit about what? For what reason? After a while you go, will that matter in a minute, a month, or a year, or 10 years? No. Generally, it doesn't and it won't. So you might as well enjoy the ride. I'm tripping today. I had a day of decompression, unpacking and all that, and the sun is out. I fully bathed myself, did my hair, my eyes, shaved, body rub. I'm feeling oh so very fine today. Here in the Emerald Forest. Feels really good. Green trees and sunshine. Lots of air to breathe. I've been on my pee box, my little pee stand. You preach on, brother. Am I having fun yet? Yeah. So, anyway, Jeffrey appeared in my other messenger. I don't know if you're still there in the conversation, Jeffrey. You still there?
Oh yeah, I'm listening.
Oh, okay, because I saw. Okay, because I saw your little face pop up here on my screen that you sent me a message.
Oh, well. It wasn't me.
Oh, okay. This is good. This is good because this is your stunt double. I can tell by the picture that you didn't send the message. Now I want everybody to be clear. Jeffrey has a stunt double, and it's not him. There's somebody out there trying to push and promote grants. I have seen this so many times. I smell them coming. I know when they appear. And when it happens, I always send another message to that person to see if it's the same message, and it's not. Somebody has hijacked Jeffrey. Know this. And they're trying to push I'm trying to figure out what to do with my grant money. Okay? Now, I say this not only in Jeffrey's behalf, but all of our behalf, because hackers do this all the time. Hackers come in and create your profile as them and come in on Messenger and act like you're homie. Now, I've been experiencing this way over a year now, and it's happened at least, I think, 5 or 6 times with people that were pretending to be people that they're not. So be aware. I'm just bringing awareness to this. Because if you didn't send me the message, that means that Grant Boy wants to get in touch with me again. Tell me how I can make an investment to get my grant. Tag. You're it.
Yeah.
I got your number. Yeah. And I already told him I got his number. I said, hey, you know what? I know you're not Jeffrey, so, you want to start playing games? You're fucking with the wrong guy. But here he is. They all do this. They all do this. They keep coming back like, what are you talking about? It's really interesting. It's really curious how it works. So, there it is. Fair warning. Yeah. So,
Big brother
what's that?
Big brother distraction.
What's up?
Who is that?
That was me, Nancy.
No, I'm just saying, the whole, they're listening in on the conversation, and it's just a way of creating distractions.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, and a lot of people don't understand this, whether you're with Google, YouTube, Facebook, or any of these, there's nobody actually sitting there listening to you. They are recording you. It is being data cataloged. That is a fact. But more importantly, they register on algorithms. So it's an IT operative that is scouring through, looking for hot buttons, key points, keywords, red flags, all that kind of jazz. That's what they're actually doing on a 24/7. The rest of it, nobody's sitting around listening to me babble right now, except who cares to. Big Brother could give a shit what I got to say in the moment unless a red flag appears. They're not listening to me. They're reading the algorithms. That's how it rolls. That's how it works. And that's why I never trip on it much myself. I don't care who's listening. Can you hear me now? What the fuck? I don't care. What are you going to do? Shoot me? Hello? Oh.
Well,
I mean, really, I don't give a shit. But it is important to be cognizant and aware of, the labels and the banners, the trolls, the this, the people that are offended, the people who want to come in, counterpoint you, whatever that storyline is, they're out there. You just have to be aware and know your own position and posture, and don't let them throw you off your game. Stay focused, be present, stay in the now, and don't trip on that shit. It's all bullshit, small stuff. It doesn't even matter. Not in my book. I don't give a shit. I really don't. I'm going to be here now, and I'm going to be as happy as I choose to be, and there is nobody else that can actually interfere with that, only me. I'm the only one that can interfere with my own joy and happiness. Nobody else can do that for me. So I elect to stay in bliss. I elect to stay in bliss. Being loved in spiritual splendor. Ha ha! How do you like that for an acronym?
I like it.
Yeah. So, I'm feeling really good today. I really am. I mean, the things are awakening. And I'm so grateful for, both of you to allow and include me in your conversations. It's truly an honor. I have nothing but respect for both of you. I trust you. We all know this as one. Yes. Hello.
Yeah, you can't see me.
Yes,
You can't see me. That's a big yes.
spiritual seed is within each one of us.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, so I don't know. I'm feeling kind of complete myself. I've been kind of being the mic pig here, and I just been on a roll. So I think we covered a lot of ideas and thoughts, and me, I think I'm ready to kind of move on and enjoy the day, get out of the studio and out in the sun. Do you have anything you want to add or need to express, Jeffrey or Nancy? Either one of you?
Well, on my knee, I bought a little thing.
Okay, wait a sec. 1 second. Jeffrey, hang on. Nancy, go ahead, because you can't hear each other. Go ahead, Nancy.
On my knee, I bought a small little tester size for $16 at the health food store, some CBD cream to keep for inflammation and such, and I've been putting it on my inflamed knee, and my experience is it's good. That's all. It's good.
Awesome. Yeah. Healing in action.
Yeah, good.
Okay, Jeffrey, your turn.
Well, I look forward to being able to hear what Nancy had to say when you post this.
Yes.
So just tell Nancy for me that I love her, even though I have never met her, based on what you said about her.
That's great. Well, we're all going to be in a group hug soon. Nancy, I don't know if you heard Jeffrey. I'm not sure if you're hearing Jeffrey. He can't hear you, but do you hear him?
No.
Okay, he just said that he absolutely loves you based on everything that I shared about you. Because he hasn't heard a word you said. And he looks forward to the post-production so he can actually hear the whole dialogue of conversation that we've shared together. Even though it was kind of independent, I think it all worked pretty well. And, I just love you both dearly. I look forward to our continuous growth. It's awesome.
And thank you for everyone that's taken the time to listen. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and close out the show, Jeffrey. You want to say goodbye now?
Okay. I guess I'll say it in Chinese.
Cool. Mandarin, right?
Mandarin. If they can the way you say goodbye in Chinese is 再见. That means see you again. 再见.
再见. 再见. Did I do it right?
再见. Yeah.
再见.
It's two fourth tones. It's 再见.
再见. 再见. I love it, man. This is awesome. Oh, this is way too much fun, man. So, I want to remind everybody that I haven't even said this in the broadcast, but next week I have John Trammell. Now, if you don't know who John Trammell is, he's got over 400 videos out there, and this guy is a major advocate of so many things. And when we got in a conversation recently, a couple weeks back before I went on the road again, we were just cracking each other up with, I just look way forward to that conversation. And it is actually going to be, we're going to do it at 10 a.m. instead of noon because of his commitment of time. So I'm moving the show back to a 10 a.m. time slot to accommodate John on that day. And I'll make that noted next week. And now I'm also having this conversation with Elatom El Amin. And he's looking at his schedule, but if his schedule is clear, he'll be the week following. And we're going to be talking a lot about breatharianism. And I'm excited about that. So if you're interested in participation, with us in July, let me know. And we'll have that conversation. And I look forward to it. So, with all that being said, boom! Ha! You just been loved. Ha ha ha! I'm out. Ciao for now. Bye bye, you guys.